Do you want to play a game? Be it a board game or a sports game or whatever kind of game. If we are going to play fairly, then we have to play by the same rules. I am not claiming that life is a game, but such it is with life as well. We need to have rules, and we need to play, to live by the same rules together. Whether we like it or not, rules and laws are important. As the great thinker Aristotle so poignantly put it, at his best, man is the noblest of all animals. Separated from law and justice, he is the worst. And in the profound words of my old dear friend, President Ronald Reagan, whose birthday we just celebrated a few days ago, we must reject the idea that every time a law is broken, society is guilty rather than the lawbreaker. It is time to restore the American precept that each individual is accountable for his actions. In last week's Torah reading, we were given the 10 Commandments for the first time. And this week's reading of Mishpatim, laws, follows for good reason. Elsewhere in the Torah, we are given both chukim and mishpatim. Chukim are laws that might not seem so obvious. The reasons for them may not seem so clear. But mishpatim should be seen as more obvious and clear if we just think about it. Chukim are more about our relationship directly with God. Mishpatim are more about our relationship with each other, with our fellow man. Psalm 19, said to have been written by King David, powerfully proclaims the goodness of Mishpatim. Torat Adonai Tamimah, Mishivat Nafesh. The law of the Lord is perfect, restoring the soul. La'ad mishpatei Adonai emet, sadku yachtav. The judgments of the Lord are true, altogether just. Hanechamadim mizahav umipaz rav. They are more desirable than gold, more than much fine gold. V'shamram ekev rav. And observing them, there is great reward. After receiving the 10 Commandments, it makes sense that we receive this elaboration of good rules on how we are to live life. This reading provides us 53 of the 613 rules on how to live life. 23 of these are positive commandments, thou shalt, and 30 of these are negative commandments, thou shalt nots. The giving of these rules may be referred to as Sefer Habrit, the book of the covenant. God gives these rules to Moses. Moses writes these divine commandments down. He reads them to the people. And then the people agree to live by these rules. These two Hebrew words, na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will obey, are of great importance as our ancestors at Sinai so thus accepted their part of the covenant. To trust in God, to follow God's ways of being good, of doing good, and of bringing more good into this world. Just as the giving of the 10 Commandments began with references to slavery, the laws of Mishpatim also begin with references to slavery. Rules for having slaves are even given. That is not because we are ever told to have slaves, but if we do, perhaps because of indentured servitude of sorts, if we do, boundaries are put on how to more responsibly have them. Similar to the rules of kashrut, we are never told to eat animals, but in case and if we do, we are at least given further boundaries. Slavery is referenced at the beginning of the giving of the Ten Commandments and at the beginning of the giving of the laws of Mishpatim here, as that was fresh in our ancestors' experiences and minds, and they should thus be able to relate as such a place to begin. Even when referring to slaves, it is important that they be allowed to still have their dignity and to be treated rightly. In the giving of these laws of Mishpatim, laws of differing degrees can well be seen. Some laws are regarding transgressions so severe that could even be punishable by death. The Torah does not allow for the severe penalty of death for crimes against property. The message is strong that a property offense cannot be considered as amounting to the value of a life. And the taking of life cannot be made up for by any amount of property. What a society thus does consider so severe speaks volumes about the core values of that society. Some of those core values, our core values communicated here in the Torah, are the dignity of all people, the infinite worth of each and every human life, and even the importance of honoring our parents. Not just something as aggressive as attacking one's parents is said to be punishable by death, but even insulting one's parents is said to be punishable by death. It is communicated that a punishment must fit the crime and circumstances. And yes, circumstances are indeed important. But there is no acceptability of treating others disrespectfully. Whenever we treat another person poorly, we move ourselves further away from God. And with God's representing all that is good, then that which is not good cannot come from God, but rather comes from our moving away from God. Our moving away and removing away God, removing God from our lives and from our world. Thus, the purpose of all these laws is to bring us closer to God. It is also especially noted here that we must not ill-treat any widow or orphan. It becomes a religious responsibility for us to look after those in such unfortunate circumstances, certainly through no fault of their own. We are told how important it is that we be people of integrity and responsibility. These laws, Mishpatim, should serve to help us to see what is our responsibility to others' property and to others themselves. Mishpatim are about our relationship with each other, with our fellow man, and how we are to function responsibly in society together. It is important to learn the rules and to live by the rules. Na'aseh v'nishma. We will do and we will obey. Again, as President Reagan so well advised, it is time to restore the American precept that each individual is accountable for his actions. Today and tomorrow are Rosh Chodesh Adar. This Shabbat is thus Shabbat Shekalim, reminding us that everyone should give and that our virtues grow when we come together. Rosh Chodesh Adar Sameach. On the Chinese calendar, also lunar calendar, Chinese New Year is now beginning. Gung Hei Fa Choi, Gung Shi Fa Tai. And while our Jewish holiday of love, Tu B'Av, we will celebrate next on the Shabbat of July 24th of this year. This Sunday, many will be celebrating Valentine's Day. And thinking of that together with looking at Parashat Mishpatim brings to mind this poetic piece that I wrote way back in 7th grade. In the world of ideal, love is real, and law is never needed. In the world of real, love is ideal, and law is seldom heeded. And I will leave you with that to ponder as I wish you, truly with love, Shabbat Shalom.